welcome to Moneylife News and Views. I am Debashis Basu. It is not often that a high-profile businessman publicly protests and appeals to the Prime Minister of India. But the shocking cases of bad loans write-offs by the public sector banks provoked even the mild-mannered and jovial industrialist Harsh Goenka to tweet the following last month. Promoters stash away money on the side, take the company to the cleaners, get 80 to 90% haircut from the bankers / NCLT. That's the new game in town. A lot of institutions cleansed by the government. NCLT next, please, Prime Minister of India. We can't have our hard-earned public money being stolen. Goenka has pointed us to the elephant in the room that we refuse to see, that the brand new bankruptcy process is being brazenly gamed by those with connections and money. The touts and fixers of the previous regime have been replaced by the new set close to this one. But Goenka was wrong about one point. It is the PSBs which primarily need fixing. Consider the various one-time settlements proposals that defaulter-friendly banks are piloting through the NCLT under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. For Siva Industries, the lenders agreed to take a 93.4% loss. For Videocon Group, the loss is 95.85%. The biggest lender to Siva is the repeatedly bailed out IDBI Bank, and that to Videocon is the State Bank of India. Not surprisingly, both are public sector banks. According to the data from the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, in over 363 major NCLT resolutions since 2017, banks have taken an average loss of 80%. Out of the 4,300 cases that have been admitted to bankruptcy courts since FY17, only 8% have been resolved so far. Nearly 40% of the cases are pending and 30% have gone into liquidation. The bankruptcy resolution system is plagued by measly recoveries and long delays. The recovery figures is skewed by top 9 accounts, mostly steel companies, which fortunately found strong acquirers from Mittal to Jindals, from a sector riding a strong upcycle. Readers of this column wouldn't be surprised with such meager recoveries. From late September 2017, over at least 8 articles, I have repeatedly pointed out that IBC is unlikely to be significantly better than the previous processes given the ground realities. But the hype and optimism about any new process is usually high, and so a lot of commentators assumed that PSBs would emerge stronger with the help of recoveries made through IBC. My skepticism was based on 3 decades of observing very poor accountability of the public sector banks, the nature of Indian businessmen, the structure of IBC, and of course the quality of India's legal processes. The gaming of the new system started right from the word go. Edelweiss Asset Reconstruction complained that the very first case of successful resolution under IBC was a fraud and a sham. Indian promoters, having badly mismanaged their businesses, don't want to give up control over their assets. Hence, in one case after another, promoters were at the forefront of acquiring control over the same assets through the bankruptcy mechanism. This was so blatant that Sajjan Jindal, founder of the JSW Group, tweeted at that time, dubious promoters should not be allowed to submit rehabilitation plan to prevent misuse of the IBC. Also, the bidding criteria should be spelled out absolutely clearly prior to inviting the bids. This will avoid litigation. The government started making course corrections with quick amendments through ordinance. Willful defaulters were barred from bidding. It is a mystery, but how promoters of DHFL, who are running a criminal enterprise of thousands of fake accounts and fake loans, were even allowed to make bids to get back the firm. There is no dearth of issues with IBC, and continuous fixes were needed. Indeed, the fixes themselves needed fixing. For example, Section 12A was added by a 2018 amendment which allows the parties to close an insolvency case with the approval of 90% of the Committee of Creditors. And now on 15 June, LCLT questioned the extensive haircut, which is 95.85%, that lenders have agreed to take in the Videocon Group insolvency resolution. Meanwhile, a report in the Mint paper says the government will review the legal provision that allows withdrawal of an insolvency case in favor of an often negligible one-time settlement, citing the example of Siva Industries Holdings. It seems that this exit route is being misused in some cases. The matter is under examination, an anonymous official told the Mint. Section 29A was amended to stop willful defaulters from gaining control over the company by forcing creditors to take massive haircuts, making a mockery of the basic principles of IBC. The amendments and the legal judgments is exactly what is being done in the Siva case. Expectedly, the law is different for different people. According to conservative estimate, the size of the bad loan problem was about 10 lakh crore in 2017. According to more reliable estimates, such as that of career banker, the late Dr. K.C. Chakravarti, it was more like 20 lakh crore, almost all of it with public sector banks. If bad loan resolution were effective at all, the stocks of public sector banks would have been much, much higher. After all, the market has been eagerly waiting for the rosy scenario of fresh lending cycle of public sector banks to play out as their bad loans get resolved and they start making recoveries. No matter what policymakers and media commentators claim, the poor financial results and stock prices of most of the PSBs is the surest sign that the bad loan resolution process has been completely ineffective so far. The fact is, massive bad loans are due to deep corruption and the nexus between bankers, businessmen and politicians in the public sector banks. It is the same corruption in PSBs which are now allowing IBCs to be gamed. Even today, PSBs remain unaccountable, while absconding defaulters close to the ruling party are able to dictate their terms to the public sector banks and subvert due legal process. Thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please do subscribe.